Hi, everyone. I'm sorry if this time has got you all screwed up. I don't know what I was doing. I scheduled this last night and I was trying to schedule it for 5 and I swore it said 5, but it said 5:40. Then Mischief was so good to tell me about it when she saw it, so I tried to fix it and it was like almost 5 o'clock, so I did it at 5:10. So I hope you find us, but if not, please catch the replay because I think this is a really interesting topic. And I don't know. I just cannot get over how many absolute tragedies come out of the Church of Scientology. How many people just absolutely have tragic ends. So I told Mischief Manage that it might just be me and her today because y'all aren't expecting me till 5:40 probably if you set your clocks for that. So anyway, if you're just happening in, I'm glad to see you. Please let me know if there's anybody here. Um, Anyway, if not, we're just still going to go ahead and get started because I'm not going to wait. It's my mistake. But anyway, so today's kind of a tense one, y'all. It does come with a very serious trigger warning. Um, I'm going to just go ahead and get started. How's that? So, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live. And this one does, as I said, come with a trigger warning. And I have decided to start adding y'all to my triggers. And I was going to tell Mischief to add that to the little icon, but she can do it for the next one. So I'm just going to say it this time. And then she can add something along those lines. Mischief, I'll message you that later. Hey, Cricket Cinema, good to see you. So you found me, huh? I'm a little bit crazy with my scheduling today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, I do want to add to the trigger warning to say that I'm not going to be responsible if something does trigger you if we offer a trigger warning, guys. I can't be responsible for every one of you. We've got close to 1,400 people that are subscribed, and actually 63% of the people that view my channel aren't subscribed. So that's a lot of people that I would have to really keep track of what triggers each individual person, and I just can't. So if I put a trigger warning, I do try to make it where you're going to know what the topic is about by the thumbnails. So please, if you think that there's even a chance that you might be triggered, please just don't watch that one. Come back to another day, because I don't want it to upset anybody. It would break my heart. It does break my heart when something triggers somebody, and I never purposely do that. So, for your health in mind, please, if you think that anything might be triggering, don't watch. And there's times that things that I watch trigger me, and I have to just walk away or scroll away or whatever. So please take care of your mental health. It's not going to upset me if you can't be there for a show. It really won't. I would rather you take care of yourself. So I care too deeply about all of you to risk it. But there's a lot of stuff in Scientology that has a lot to do with Scientology that's pretty rough. And so there's just no way to do no shows that have any kind of triggering, information. And I'm sorry for that. So anyway, Marilee, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for being a member. Cricket, I think I already said hello to you, but she's got her triggers in check. Good. I do too. I don't know. This one was rough. There's a lot of them that when I'm actually doing the research that they're kind of rough, but I tried to tone it down so it wasn't quite so bad, y'all. Gary, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being here. I will probably I think Mischief is going to do some starring things, so she'll kind of keep track of that, and I'll check back with you kind of as we go or at the end or something. But this one might be a little bit of a long one. So you might want to get you a drink. Any kind of beverage, coffee, tea, water, soda, juice. I don't care. Whatever you want. Beer. I don't care. Wine. Oh, here we go. Gary Mackey Getting on to mischief. Yes, Marilee, we are all adults. We need to take responsibility for our own mental health. I get that. And I know that it can be difficult, but I really do. I don't have very many times that it slips up, right? And that I should have done a trigger warning and I didn't. But I mean, it can happen. And for that I do apologize in advance if it helps. But I do try to. I mean, a lot of times just by the thumbnails you can tell if it's going to be kind of weird, but I'm going to start trying to remember to put trigger warning on the thumbnails of the ones that might need it. So, but also in the chat, and I will also talk about it. So, oh wow. I'm trying to read. Dawn Gloves is on the cruise, y'all, and she says that the Wi-Fi on the boat is crappy. She can see most chats, but the live feed is frozen. So y'all might just say hi to her. Uh, and y'all, whenever you see this little interaction that's going on with between a couple people on here, and it says that it's me, it's actually mischief managed. So don't be thinking that I'm over here 2D flowing it or whatever. Y'all. Anyway, so I'm gonna get started because I have like 20 cards, but they're only one-sided. Usually I have two sides. So it would only be like 10 cards that way. So that's not that bad. Okay, so have any of you all heard of Kuba Ka or Kuba K? I think it's Kuba Ka. Not the TV show that kind of sounds like that, y'all. This is a pop star from a few years back, okay? Yeah, Susie doesn't call Gary Puddin'. No, I don't. Oh, I don't know. He's a doll though. I do love him, but I don't call him Puddin'. Anyway, apparently he had kind of been handpicked by Michael Jackson's manager when Michael died to become Michael's successor. So apparently he had a lot of talent and everything, and the guy could dance and sing and all that. So anyway, it was, he was quite a talent. And he was also a little bit full of himself, y'all. He called himself the god of pop. It sounds like quite the ego to me. But anyway, he did sadly pass away before he ever really got a chance to fulfill his dreams that he had since he was a small boy in Poland. And he was originally named Jakub Stepniak, and that's what I'm going to call him throughout here because he changed his name like 3 times, above and beyond Jacob. So I'm going to just call him Jacob. Most of the time, probably. I might slip up every once in a while. So anyway. Oh, this, I was like saying, what did I write here? Kubaka is apparently in Poland a nickname for Jacob. And he spelled his name, which I thought was cute. It's Jakub, and I thought that was really a cool way to spell it. So he didn't spell it that way, his mama did. So anyway. So on April 22nd, 2021, Jacob made a barely audible call left on voicemail to his doctor telling him that the inflammation was getting really bad and that he was with his uncle who was taking care of him, and he was going to try to reach another one of his doctors because that doctor was, busy. But he also said, and it was kind of ominous, y'all, that he said, I don't know if I'll survive till the morning. So that's pretty sad. And the thing is, he didn't. The next morning, reports say that he was found dead by his uncle. He had died in his sleep at 30 years of age. But y'all, we're going to take a couple steps back because I kind of do this. I give you like a little bit of, what happened, and then I say, okay, tone it back. We're going to go back and see what's on here. Constance June, I don't know if I said hi to you, but if not, hello. Good to see you. My nose is itching, y'all. I don't know. Ugh. Anyway, so let's take a steps back. Originally from Poland, Jakub had received, according to him, this is what his backstory. Anyway, that he had received some local fame as an upstart, child performer who made charity events happen with big international stars, y'all. So he was always putting together charities in Poland and it was young. There was some sort of trouble that he never really talked about for him in Poland, and he left. And he reemerged as a pop star, like just basically out of nowhere. He came in and said, that he's a pop star, and it seemed to work. People seemed to just accept it, and he suddenly was a pop star. So anyway, he put out a song with Flavor Flav and appeared on a short-lived reality show on the E! Network, and he started calling himself the God of Pop. After a brief flirtation with Scientology in 2017 that ended in disaster, according to him, he rebranded himself Amon-Ra, an Egyptian god. So he changed his race, y'all. He went from being Polish to being Egyptian. And he went full on. Let me tell you, if you saw the pictures, oh my goodness, I do not know what I am doing. If you saw the pictures on the there we go. Oh, sorry, I don't know if y'all can see when I make boo-boos like that, but I tend to hit things and the screen went like crazy. But anyway. Hey, Duke, you're going to have to lay down, buddy. Okay, thank you. You're just a sweet boy. Anyway, he was very good looking, had a chiseled body, and he was a dancer, and he just, he was always working, constantly working. He was not lazy by any means, y'all. He was constantly working. And he just was always chasing a dream of being an international star. It wasn't good enough to be a star in Poland. Wasn't good enough to be a star in the U.S. He wanted to be a star everywhere. He wanted everyone to know who he was. But then suddenly, and we're going to circle back again, because that's not the only time I'm going to mention Scientology. Anyway, but suddenly in 2020, he developed a skin condition that left him bleeding and in pain. It was terrible. Terrible. His family claims that his doctors were never able to diagnose what was wrong with him, and they made mistakes with medication that they prescribed to him. His mother, a lawyer, filed a suit against the doctors who took $400,000 from him above, y'all, what his insurance paid. And this was just like in a year's time. This was like, But wait, that's not really the truth. That's the story he told. The story is much more interesting and really disturbing. So now we get to see the difference between what he told and what was true. So travel back in time to 2017, okay? Jakub announced via Twitter that he was ditching the Church of Scientology, which had decided they had decided that he was about to become a big superstar, but he was apparently done with them for whatever reason. According to the reporter, who was actually Tony Ortega, which we've all heard, hey, you're shaking the bed, baby. Duke, it's like an earthquake. You're going to have to stop. Can you lay down? No. Oh, my God. I'm telling you, when Australian Shepherds decide they got an itch, it will shake your bed. He does that in the middle of the night, too, and I'm like, ooh, it shakes me awake, But anyway, so according to, Duke, he's a sweetheart. He'll get on camera one of these days. He's a monkey. According to Tony Ortega, who had actually met him, Jakub was actually, very humble acting to him. And he had a childlike trust of other people. He just genuinely believed that his music could heal the world. The reporter said, Ortega, I put the reporter because I couldn't remember Ortega's name, and then I had to go back and look it up. Isn't that awful? So Tony Ortega said that that it was charming that Jacob had run afoul of the Church of Scientology for asking impertinent questions, is what was said. Mm. Dude got me all twisted. I didn't know what I was doing. He shook me up, couldn't find my place. Anyway, now Jacob was very impressed with David Miscavige. And most of the Scientologists, even those that are in the organization for many, many years, they don't actually meet him. They might see him somewhere. I mean, he makes appearances, or they might see him walk in or whatever. But very few actually meet him. So, especially the lower. But just weeks after Jacob had begun his grooming as a church celebrity, he had met the man twice. So anyway, but Jacob, in his, Tony did say that he was childlike, right? That he kind of had a childlike quality to him. So Jacob asked if he could read books written by Miscavige, not realizing he'd committed a major faux pas. Scientology, y'all, has millions of written words in books and policies, but it's written by, we all know him, L. Ron Hubbard, who died in 1986. Not David Miscavige. Or not. He's made some changes that he, says he found, right? But we know that that's just, David just wrote that. But anyway. So although Miscavige has total control over the organization, he would never dream of writing a new book of Scientology technology on his own. Well, God bless him. Xenu bless him. Yeah, bad changes. He's made some bad changes. Absolutely, mischief. Everybody that I've talked to or read their books and stuff says that, it was always a little wackadoodle. We're talking about L. Ron Hubbard. But they're saying that, honestly, L. Ron was not like Miscavige, and that things weren't as bad when it was L. Ron as it is with Miscavige. So I don't know. But anyway, so he wouldn't dare write books, blah, blah, blah. So for that and other transgressions, y'all, Jacob and the church found that they had irreconcilable differences. They got a divorce, y'all. And a big 26th birthday party scheduled at the Celebrity Center for Jacob, just literally 3 or 4 days later, was canceled. And he really, I guess, Jacob took it hard. He took, the divorce basically pretty hard. And so hard, y'all, that he was hospitalized. He was, he had a mental break. Ortega said with Jacob out of Scientology, he kind of lost track of him, that Ortega did. And then he was shocked to hear about that he had died, but stunned by what his mother and uncle told him about Jacob's final weeks. Okay, it was only after obtaining Jacob's medical records that the true horror of Jacob's end was known. So Ortega recounts trying to find out more about Jacob's past, but finding it hard with all the mythology that he had created about himself. But he found a Polish journalist by the name of Boris Kosakowski, I think, who had written a thorough biography about Jacob what I did that for. In 2015. You know, you just gotta remember I got chemo brain. I just write things that don't fit. Just random numbers or random words just seem to appear, which really throws me off. So anyway, in this biography, it said that Jacob had started making a name for himself in about 2000. So he was organizing charity concerts to benefit stray animals, which is sweet. And according to claims, he turned 25 in 2016. So that would have made him 9 when he was a big party planner in Poland. So Kawakazowski's biography suggested that maybe Jacob wasn't quite as young as what Jacob told everybody he was. But he looked it. He looked very young. He took very good care of himself, and he had that gorgeous, skin that just looks Brooke, I think it makes it more interesting of a read with all the numbers and the random things you add. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, Jacob had claimed that he had been inspired by Poland's first lady at the time, and she had supported his efforts whenever he was doing all this party planning. But then he claimed that she forced him to cancel a Christmas 2004 charity concert because it conflicted with one of her events. She supposedly told him that he had no place in show business. He said he was so traumatized he suffered PTSD. In 2007, he moved to the U.S. to start over. He just wanted to get the hell out of there. He focused on getting in shape, and as he grew to be an adult, he became very chiseled and very good looking. But he also claimed that years later he still struggled with PTSD due to the incident with the president's wife in Poland. There was a few years of chasing fame, the short-lived TV show where he was cast as one of the millionaires. It was a show about these women that got hooked up with these millionaires, but these millionaires weren't millionaires, y'all. It was all fake. The women didn't know it, but they weren't millionaires. He didn't have any money. But anyway, he was at some time being mentored by LaToya Jackson, which is another Michael Jackson, connection, and just, blah, 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 a bunch of Hollywood stuff. He just was, chasing his dream for a few years. By 2017, he'd spent a decade in Hollywood chasing fame and immortality. With a short time when the Church of Scientology actually bought into his dream. They really thought he was going to be this big thing. Yeah, she's Michael's sister. So how did Jacob get involved with Scientology? Okay, so he was apparently becoming disillusioned. Sorry about that. With the way that young talent was being treated in Hollywood, and he was being sold for photo shoots due to them being attractive. His whole Egyptian god appearance. He said he was treated like a piece of meat. He claimed that he was threatened with being deported if he didn't undress. And that's all he told Tony Ortega that. I looked up several deals, but Tony Ortega had some really good information on it because he actually met him. So he was actually, able to say stuff that he said. So, kudos for Tony. That was hard to say. Not as bad as if it was Chris Shelton, though. He'd heard things, y'all, about Scientology and how they were drug-free, and they kind of, opposed the, Hollywood's seemlier side. They're just kind of their seedy side to it. They didn't like that. So he eventually went into Scientology, and he claimed that he was the happiest person in the world whenever he got in with them. It seemed to resonate with his own personal interests. Remember, he believed, y'all, that his music could really, could heal the world. So for them to be talking to him about something that was going to heal the world, that went right with what he wanted and was, loving and everything, which, and he's very childlike. So we got to remember that too. There's nothing wrong with him, but he was just, I think he just like never really got to be a child. He was always chasing that dream, right? So I think he just never got over kind of being childish. So anyway, and Scientology, he said, immediately treated him like royalty, which you know how they are. But why would Scientology really treat him like that when he was virtually unknown? That's what, is kind of hard. But Scientology had kind of gotten duped, y'all, by a middleman who was a film producer who worked at Variety magazine, and he funneled all these young, stars, these up and coming stars. He funneled them into the Church of Scientology Celebrity Center. And it's not exactly clear why, but an introduction was made to a Church of Scientology handler, Noah. I don't know. Boldiak. Boldiak. Bolduc. So anyway, so this Noah was assigned to Jacob and became his constant companion at the church. Like, constant. Okay. Jacob's mom said she was a little surprised that he wanted to be part of the Church of Scientology, but he was no longer a child and deserved his freedom. She said her son's dreams were bigger than her life. But as the love bombing went on, his business partners became suspicious. Why were they putting so much into him? They thought there was an ulterior motive with the church. Can you imagine that? One of which had his own reason or her own reasons for being wary of the Church of Scientology after the experiences of her boyfriend, Jeff Conaway, who had died in 2011. She said the Church of Scientology needed young, attractive celebrities because they're oh my God, because their current celebrities was getting long in the tooth. I think it's funny. And they were pressing his managers and all of his associates, anybody that was around him. The church was pressing them to take courses also and to start paying huge sums of money to the church. But they were like, no, that's okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Long in the tooth got me. Oh my God. When I was researching it, it got me, and I'm like, you have to put that in there because that's what they said. So anyway, yeah. Within a few weeks, Jacob, being treated like royalty, was able to meet Miscavige. He said it was the closest thing to meeting Michael Jackson, an emperor, or the Pope. I'm telling you, the guy was a little childish. Long in the tooth. You like that one, Marilee? You've always liked that one. Me too. I haven't heard it in a while, till when I was studying this. He was offered a meeting with John Travolta, but they said that it had to be a closed door, secret meeting, y'all. And he was not allowed to ever tell anybody that he had met John Travolta. But he declined that meeting. He's probably like, who? Anyway, so Jacob was apparently becoming kind of uncomfortable in the church with some of their, how he was followed to the bathroom. If he had to poop, this Noah dude went with him. I mean, seriously, I'm not lying. Like, that would make you a little uncomfortable, right? I mean, and this is like 26-year-old guy. I mean, he's probably wanting to hook up with some chicks because he's good looking and all that. And the church, they were cock blockers. I'm sorry. Oh my God. I need to just close this one out and start over. But yeah, they were cock blockers. So anyway, they were planning this big party. This is before he got kicked out and everything, because we went back. They were planning this big party at the Celebrity Center for his big coming out as a new star for the Church of Scientology. Jacob, however, I like this guy. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, Susie's on a roll. Yeah. Anyway, but Jacob, he expressed some ideas, y'all, of how Scientology could be improved. Not surprisingly, that didn't go over well. I mean, Scientology is not exactly known for improvements or being willing to listen to anybody. But Jacob told Miscavige that some of the courses should be free. Or people should be able to just donate. Merrily. They should just be able to donate what they wanted for the courses, that even if it was only $1. He said that's how you bring in the homeless or the needy. Jacob said he thought it would be like bringing people into the temple where everyone is welcome. But he soon figured out, y'all, that was not going to happen. Homeless can't afford courses. So, and a lot of them aren't in good enough health for them to want them in the Sea Org. So, they was not wanting those homeless people. Still don't, apparently, or it looks to me like they could really raise their membership up. Because I'm not trying to be funny, but literally, there's a lot of homeless people that they could probably, God forbid, con into joining just to have someplace to live. So anyway, Jacob said that it was clear by then that the church did not support his beliefs of taking care of people and doing things for them. So, y'all, the honeymoon was over. More and more rules were given that he had to follow. They wanted access to his bank accounts and his medical records. His uncle told him that he had taken one course 33 years before and that they were still hounding him 33 years later. But Jacob didn't listen to those warnings. He had went ahead and joined and was in there. Then Jacob told I'm telling you, I like this guy. Then Jacob told the church that they couldn't just reject Leah Remini. They should talk to her. He wanted to invite her to his birthday celebration, and he asked Noah to arrange a meeting with Miscavige so that he could discuss some suggestions that he had. That's when he started hearing, whispers that he was a problem. So he was labeled by Joy Villa a Trojan horse trying to destroy the church. So, yeah, they are. They're a walking HIPAA violation. Absolutely, Brooke. Absolutely. It's good to see you, and it's good to see Freebird, too. Okay. He also told Joy that they should go to Washington, D.C. and meet with with President Trump to try to counter Scientology's bad reputation. He told her that Scientology is too much behind closed doors. He wanted to show love and bring on the media, bring on Leah Remini and offer them love. He wanted everybody at his party. He was told that Joy, she could no longer be around him because he was too controversial talking about reaching out to Trump. Funny thing, y'all. Oh, my nose. A little side thing. is that Joy famously wore, I remember this, I didn't know who she was or whatever, but she famously wore a Make America Great dress to the 2017 Grammy Awards, which made her famous with the MAGA people. She's been to the White House multiple times as an exploratory look at running for Congress, and she continues to work her fame with conservatives and on the book and lecture circuit. So she's, she was saying that Trump was too controversial, but then she's like hooked right on up with them all. Anyway, so prior to all the hoopla, Joy and Jacob were writing a song together to benefit human rights. And he had asked her to perform one of his songs with him at a charity ball. But y'all, then came the knowledge reports and lie detectors and cancellation of his birthday party. And he was stalked, y'all, and he began to worry, what is the Church of Scientology capable of? He began to think that he was in danger. So he was, it all caused him to be hospitalized briefly for nervous exhaustion. He claimed that the Church of Scientology had left him a nervous wreck. So that's when he got out of Scientology and he had to be hospitalized for a few days. So, according to his mom, the pandemic was incredibly hard on her son. His career came to a standstill, as it did for many people. But just before the pandemic, on December 19th, 2019, Jacob's father died of a heart attack. Jacob, being an only child, was very close to both of his parents, and his dad often appeared in his videos. His death was an unexpected blow that just, he never really recovered from it. He was just too tore up, y'all. So as the pandemic dragged on, Jacob was focused on a new album, which he was always focused on a new album, that would once for all give him the success that he craved. That's what he truly believed. He called it Creation, and he posted several teaser videos to his YouTube channel in June. But by October, postings had stopped, y'all. His mom said his illness had arrived. There was something wrong with his skin, mostly his face, but also his arms, legs, and torso. So that's pretty much your whole body. They were scared, y'all, because multiple doctors couldn't figure out what in the world it was or what was even causing it. His face and washboard stomach had always been his trademark features, and now they were covered in open, bleeding sores. His face became one large black mass of scabs, blood, and pus. It was also showing up on his arms and legs. His uncle started staying with him to help him because he literally couldn't make it to the bathroom or anything for himself. His uncle said that he also suffered from prolonged infections, and that his body would just swell. The inflammation was terrible. And he had bleeding and intense pain from his face and his body. Everything just hurt. Jacob's uncle was with him for 5 months and said he was the kindest person he had ever met, that he never so much as cussed. His mom was in Europe and his friends had left him. They had just kind of, I guess, they couldn't handle it. It happens a lot. I mean, it really does. When you get sick, a lot of times your friends, they don't know what to say or what to do, and they just kind of disappear. It does happen a lot. So his uncle was then his companion and drove him to doctor's visits and, anywhere that he needed to go. He went and did all of his grocery shopping. He cooked for him. He fed him. He made sure he got his medicine, everything. And all this while, COVID was raging. And a once very, very social Jacob was stuck at home, sick and in pain and alone. you know. So in February, Jacob made another YouTube video. It was titled Face Jihad, and it was just about a minute long. It features blood spurting out of his face, flashes of his huge scabs, and pools of blood on the tiles at his feet. Jacob called the condition neglected tropical disease and said he was going to produce a documentary about it. The video is online, y'all. The one that showed what he looked like is online, but it is hard to watch. I watched it because I wanted to have all the information. It's not, it's hard to watch, but it's not like horrible hard to watch. It's. So anyway, he and his family believe that he was infected with parasites as a teen when he went to Africa to produce some charity shows. It seemed to fit with the Kuba Ka mythology. He had chased immortality as a god of entertainment with his beauty and talent, but there was always something, whether in Poland or in this new version of his story in Africa, that was stealing what he thought he was due, his fame, his stardom. His mom said she was startled by the diagnosis his primary care physician made, which was mental illness. The family refused to believe that and clings to the neglected tropical disease Jacob diagnosed himself with. The doctor's diagnosis was sadly horrifically true. Okay. Jacob was finally and forever ending his exhausting chase of fame by ripping apart his own face. All of it had just gotten to him. And you know how people, like, if they get a little scab or something, they'll pick at it? That's what he was doing, only on a huge, huge level. By spring, Jacob was losing the battle with the thing consuming his skin. He was weak. He couldn't even walk. He was in massive pain. His body was horribly inflamed. They said he just didn't even look like himself. It was awful. He tried to fight, and he even wanted to fly to a hospital in Boston that could, he thought, help with this disease that he said he had. Anyway, he was scheduled to fly Sunday, April 25th. The family still says doctors were unable to diagnose him, and the medications they gave him killed him. His mom turned over Jacob's autopsy reports to Ortega, which he was really surprised by. And the final prescription, the paper that he had received the day before he died. The report revealed that Jacob was not 23, as E! Network claimed, or 30, based on what he had told Ortega, but he was actually 35. And he died of methadone toxicity. There was no evidence of a parasite or neglected tropical disease. He'd simply overdosed on pain medication that was determined to be an accident. And I really do think that it was an accident. At the end, he really had hope. He really believed that's what was wrong with him, that he really had this neglected tropical disease, and that this doctor in Boston was going to be able to help him. And maybe he would have been able to help him, but he died before he could get there. Then, on top of that, his prescription listed him as being 41. But his mother swears that he was born in 1986, not 1980. So we don't know how old he was, but he was somewhere between 35 and 41. Maybe. He had been prescribed both methadone and Norco. Ortega sent the documents to a national authority on opioid abuse, And he said that neurotic excoriation was not an unknown affliction with drug users who often pick at their skin. But Jacob was never known to be a drug user or even a drinker. And he claimed that, or Ortega said that the doctor that looked in, or the specialist with this opioid thing, said that the doses were surprisingly strong unless someone had a very high tolerance for opioids, which for several years he'd been on painkillers and he was, in constant pain. So he probably did have a really, really strong, high tolerance for opioids. So Ortega said that he contacted Boris Kawaskowski again and said in retrospect that Kawaskowski, didn't believe the story about the first lady in Poland. He thought that that was, not true. He said, who knows what happened with the money, referring to the charity events in Poland. So apparently that might have had something to do with money from these charity events. That was the big blow up that he had in Poland when he left. So anyway, people had begun to realize it was more than just creating a persona. It was more about creating a persona for him than it was about an actual charity. So people were kind of, getting down on him. He says that Jacob was a narcissist focused on himself. It was always him against the world. You were his follower or his enemy. There was nothing in between. Mm-hmm. Not going to say anything, but we got some of those around. Mm-hmm. He added that Jacob really was very well known in Poland. He had become a big star at a very young age. Kosakowski said that he wasn't sure why Jacob decided to grant him the 2015 interview. He was the first Polish journalist Jacob had talked to after moving to the U.S. He wouldn't talk to any of the he cut his ties with Poland, y'all. And he said that Jacob had said that he was treated, there you are again, dude, badly by journalists in Poland who hated him. But he said that that wasn't realistic, that people really didn't hate him. So anyway, in a video made in 2020, Jacob said that the Black Lives Matter movement reminded him of his struggle in Poland. Kawakazowski said that it was in reference to a mugging. Jacob had been attacked in December of 2001 by three men who roughed him up. In the video, Jacob said that that was the source of his PTSD, not the incident with the president's wife, y'all. Now he had said that it was this other deal. Kawakowski says that Jacob bought into the American thinking that you can be whoever you want to be. He really wanted to be the god of pop. And he pushed that to the limit. And he just really didn't have any contact with reality. He had always kind of been on his own. His mom was always away. And so he, from a very young age, he was famous and or at least in Poland, y'all. And he really didn't have any kind of reality. He just, and so we really don't know. We know what he died of. We know that he was in Scientology. We know those things, but we don't know how old he was. We don't know what really happened in Poland. There's just so much. He changed his story so many times. He just if one thing didn't fit, he just would go to another one. He just come up with another, story about his life. So I think that was also the reason for all the name changes. Because literally he changed his name from Jacob two or three, at least twice, and maybe three times. So anyway, I'm going to check with my chat. So I think I've said hello to Cricket. and Marilee and Gary. Going down through here, y'all. I'm sorry. Yeah, there is so much that goes on in the music industry. Absolutely. Like, and right now, we're really finding out some stuff, y'all. And, I'm like, gosh, did any of that they're talking about with P. Diddy, did any of that happen to him? I mean, he said that, that in modeling gigs that they would force him to undress, or they would say, if you don't do this, we're going to send you back to Poland. And, you know, anyway, it's just a mess. Yeah. The chit is really hitting a giant industrial sized fan. I think there's going to be a lot of people that get their tit in a ringer. Yeah. And I think a lot of it does lead back to Scientology. I think that a lot of people are more involved with Scientology than what we know. And obviously more involved with Scientologists, even if they're not actual Scientology members. In the entertainment, there's just a lot of Scientology. And it just. So let's see here. Oh, there's my trigger warning. Okay. Marilee says, sounds like he had some mental health issues to begin with. Absolutely. And it seems like a lot of people, and I don't mean as bad, y'all. I'm not talking about anybody, but it does seem like that a lot of people with mental health issues do end up wrapped up in Scientology. And if they don't have mental health issues when they get in, it seems like a lot of them do when they get out. We've got some wonderful second gems that somehow escaped without being, seriously in trouble, mentally. I mean, yeah, some of them need counseling and stuff, but that's different than being like seriously mentally ill, where this guy was like literally ripping his face apart. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, Latoya is Michael's sister, Michael Jackson's sister. Yeah. Yeah, delusions of grandeur, Marilee, absolutely. Ah, Freebird, good day. Good timing for Down Under, 8:30 a.m. here with my morning coffee. I'm fixing to have a cup of tea. I need it, actually, after I finish this coffee. Yeah. Subscribe, people. It's free. Thanks, Freebird. Yeah, it does. It did sound like some kind of poison to me, Marilee, too, till they came up with what it really was. Freebird said that it's, yeah, that tea. That tea. Mischief is holding up some tea that I sent her, which is some tea that she sent me, and then I sent her. So we're just like, Freebird says, oh no, it's bad timing. Nora's live, so I got to go, but I'll come back for replay. Also, guys, Mark Bunker did some new content, funny. If you want to catch it later, I will. Absolutely. Yeah, Brooke. I mean, all that inaccurate information could have led to his death, too. They do check age, weight, and such, that he wasn't really facing the truth. Absolutely. Yeah, all of that was going on would absolutely cause PTSD. I don't doubt that he had that at all. Yeah, not a lot of conversation today, but the story was riveting. I know. I just sat and I went down a rabbit hole, y'all. I probably read stuff for 6 or 7 hours. Like I just kept reading stuff and trying to figure out how to condense it to something that I could do. Yeah, Marilee, I had never heard of him either. I had never heard of this story. I had never heard about him. So, hi Lisa, good to see you. It doesn't matter if you're late. You can catch up on the replay. Yeah, we're tea buddies. I sent tea, y'all, to my, I'm always saying that I always so appreciative of my amazing mods. And I just, like if I ever get rich, they're getting paid, right? Well, I'm not getting rich. Let's just put it at that. But at all, not even a little. But anyway, I did send them all my favorite tea, which is now my favorite tea because I didn't think I liked peppermint tea, but Mischief Managed sent me some a while back for my birthday, and I in June, and I fell in love with it, and now I drink it every single day. I don't miss a day. I do not miss a day of it. Sometimes I drink it a couple times. So anyway, I thought, you know what? I can't afford to pay them, but I can afford to send them some tea. So I sent them some tea in a little teacup, and we're just all going to have tea. Like when we drink out of our little cups, then we'll think of each other. So I think it is pretty riveting. Thank you, Marilyn. I don't think I did a fantastic job, but I tried to dig out the most important facts. And I mean, everything I read, it went on and on and on about all this stuff that he did in Hollywood, but all that really doesn't matter to the story. It's just your typical, he was, doing this, recording that, wrote this song, sang that song, met this person. It was a lot of stuff that we don't care, and you can always go back and look him up and read all that information. uh, mm, so anyway, I guess that's all. I guess that's all. I don't know. So tomorrow, guys, Mark has an appointment. It's in the morning, but you never know how long these things are going to take or what they're going to decide to do. But Mark has an appointment around 10:30, I think, or 10:45 at his surgeon for his kidney cancer. If you didn't know, my husband had a hernia and they did a CT scan and it found kidney cancer. So anyway, he has kidney cancer, and so now he's going to my oncologist, and he really likes her, which is kind of funny because he really didn't like her when she was my oncologist. He didn't dislike her, but he wasn't crazy about her. Now he thinks she's it. But she babied him around and was so nice to him. I mean, not like weird, but So anyway, she, made an impression on him. So anyway, so he's going to that oncologist, and then he's going to a Dr. Kim there in Tulsa that has got just a really good reputation for all of this with kidney cancer and everything. And so anyway, we're going to go see him tomorrow. And we hope that we'll have a little bit better information. Oh, I left that paper over on the other table. I can't remember what it is now. I'll tell you tomorrow. I wrote down what his actual diagnosis is. But anyway, he has I'm going to get it wrong. I'll just tell you what size the tumor and everything is tomorrow because I will get it wrong and I'll be like, oh, it wasn't that. But it's large for a kidney tumor, I guess. So anyway, he's got that. And then Friday, he's got 3 different scans. So we'll be at the hospital for several hours on Friday while he goes through those scans. And I posted a picture of 3 different books on my community page. And without the hernia, they would have never found the kidney cancer. And the thing is he does not have any symptoms of either one. He leaned back on a floaty out in the pool, and he doesn't usually sit on this. It was just a weird thing. He doesn't usually get on this floaty, but he was getting on my floaty actually. And he went to lean back weird, and I could see it pop out on his belly. I could see this knot pop out on his belly, above his belly button. And I was like, what is that? And he was like, no, it's nothing, But I was just like, do it again. And so I made him do it again, and I saw it. And so I immediately got him an appointment, and we took him in for that. But yeah, he doesn't have any symptoms. He feels great. He's in great spirits. He doesn't seem nervous about it at all. I think he's a little bit nervous about going to see the surgeon tomorrow, but it's a big surgery. And I don't think that he realized how big of a surgery it is until I was telling him yesterday or day before that I had read that he would probably be out of work for about 6 weeks. And he's like, why? And I said, honey, it's a big surgery. It's not. And he said, well, you had a mastectomy, you had a double mastectomy and you were home and blah blah blah. And I said, but I didn't go to work. I quit my job. I sold the paper. Which I did go to work when I take that back. I did go to work when I had the double mastectomy, but I worked from home. And my mom did most of the hard work. She did all the I don't know how I survived without her because she did everything for me. But anyway, um mm, that was a rough one for some reason. I don't know why that hit me so hard. I just like a bunch of stuff just flashed back. I could just like in my mind's eye see her delivering the paper and you know putting the labels on the paper and all these things that she did for me, all these interviews that she went and did and articles that she wrote. And when we had the tea room, she did all the cooking. And I mean, my mother, you guys, she was. Yes, I am thankful that he got on my floaty. It may have saved his life. And it was actually a floaty that I bought for him, but we call it my floaty because it's exactly like the one that I've got. And so I told him that when mine messes up, I'm stealing that one. So he just calls it mine. He says, we all know it's yours eventually. So anyway, I'm going to go, but I will be back tomorrow. We're going to do a live where you guys get to pick what we're going to talk about, right? I'm not going to have any note cards. I'm not going to have anything. I'm going to come on here. I'm going to say hi, probably do my little, welcome to the channel, blah, 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 blah. But that's it. And the rest of it, I'm going to go to my chat and y'all are going to have to tell me what to talk about. You can ask me questions. You can ask each other questions. We can talk about different topics. It doesn't have to be Scientology, but it can be. It can be whatever you guys want to talk about. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. And if it goes over well, if you all like it, I don't expect it to be like a huge success in the very first time. But if y'all like it, I thought we might do that once a month. Do that, and then, where everybody can join in for that. And then I'm trying to figure out how to get my Zoom thing set up so that we can do Zoom calls with the members. So that's what the plans are right now. So that's what I'm planning. I'm besides working on getting Mark healthy and taking my chemo, I'm working on a couple little additions to the channel. So anyway, I'm going to go before I get in trouble. I've been on an hour. And I did tell Mischief that it might be an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm doing good. I'm an hour and 3 minutes. So I'm going to go. I think it sounds fun too, Lisa. I really do. Marilee, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I am too. I'm hyped up for it. So anyway, let's go ahead and go. And I will see you guys on people's chats tonight. And I will see you guys here at 5 o'clock tomorrow for the chat picks the topic. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.